A lot of people have underdog stories, but this is the story about how one man changed fantasy baseball forever. Did you think that there was any real chance that Team Big Man Official would make it this far?
No!
Nope.
No, I didn't see Miles winning.
Daddy? No.
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 No. No. There's no way Miles makes it. No way.
No.
No.
No. No!
No.
No. No.
No.
Now, we all know how this story ends, but this film isn't about the result. It's about the journey. So let's start from the beginning. As the draft began, there was a clear disconnect between Miles and the players that flew off the board. He waited and waited and waited until the fifth round of the draft. At this point, all plans and preparation were long out the window. Miles needed to pick someone, anyone, but what he did next was so dumbfounding that not even a person with zero baseball knowledge would be so stupid. Miles, what was going through your mind when you chose to pick Trevor Bauer, a pitcher accused of sexual assault, and more importantly, a player who was suspended for the entire 2022 season, meaning that they would be ineligible to play for your team with your first draft pick?
I mean, if I'm being honest, I just kept getting really concerned about my picks, or lack thereof. And then somebody nominated Trevor Bauer, and I just kind of thought it would be a good idea to pick him, because when he is not being accused of sexual assault, he's a pretty good pitcher. Um, Looking back, though, picking him as the first player to join my team was pretty stupid. Um, but yeah, I don't really think there was much logic going into that. I was just so overwhelmed. I didn't have any players, and frankly, I was quite excited when I picked him. I was really just glad to have someone on my team. But yeah, that was probably a bad move, I think, looking back.
Fast forwarding to the end of the draft, it was clear that your team was not good. You hadn't picked a single player who was an all-star the previous year, and your best two pitchers were both almost 40. Logically, you had to have known that you had a terrible team, right?
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, I just I kind of had never done a draft with 16 people before, and just thought that it would all work out for me. Um, I just kept letting players go off the board because I thought they were too expensive, and then all that were left were these scrubs, and I was just kind of stuck with them. Um, yeah, it was a bad draft. I'm very aware of that. I had probably the worst team in the league after the draft.
To start the season, you went on an improbable run, winning your first 7 weeks in dominant fashion. to the surprise of everyone. Were you surprised by this?
I mean, like I could just say no and just pull the confident card, but I think that anyone that saw my team was also quite surprised by this. I was getting pretty lucky. Um, I think I had some pretty easy matchups the first few weeks. Obviously, week one was against Team Jadart, who's probably like one of the worst teams that was in the whole league, so that was a pretty easy win. And then I had a good run there. I had 6 wins in a row after that easy week one. Um, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. My pitching was just pulling me through. They were all way overperforming. Um, but yeah, I definitely did not expect to start that hot, especially considering just how bad my draft was. But big man always has a trick up his sleeve, so gotta expect the unexpected.
After this improbable 7-0 start, you settled back down to earth and went a mere 5-5 over the next 10 weeks. This dropped you from first all the way to fifth place. Did you view this as the end for Team Big Man Official, or was this just a setback on your path to stardom?
Yeah, so I don't really think that this was anything out of the ordinary that I went on this skid, and I don't really think it was because my team was bad at this point either, because after that 7-0 run, I made a ton of moves, um, and I just had a brief time there in the middle where my whole team was hurt, and so there wasn't really anything that I could do. I just kind of had to wait. Um, but yeah, I don't really think that it was any sort of setback, and it definitely made it so when my guys came back, I was ready to be back on top.
So you mentioned moves. You made the most acquisitions and trades in the whole league, with 109 acquisitions and a ridiculous 14 trades. How did these moves bolster your lineup going into those final 4 weeks?
Yeah, I made a lot of moves. I think that the team that makes the most moves, it really just kind of shows whose team was the worst drafted and who kind of was just in the worst situation. Um, I drafted so poorly, I had to make so many moves just to make my team serviceable. Um, the first few weeks, I hadn't made any trades. I was just picking up players, and I got really lucky with a lot of those ads that I made. Um, some of them were still on my team at the end of the year. So obviously, the free agency was my calling card there. And for trades, I was wheeling and dealing the whole year. I was trading all sorts of players. Um, I made a bunch of trades that were great, and I made a couple that were terrible. But overall, they all worked out. And pretty much what I was giving up in the trades were players that I picked up in free agency. Because my draft was so terrible, I couldn't really move those guys around. So I mean, it all worked out in the end, right?
You managed to win the final 4 weeks, pushing you from fifth all the way back to first place. But this final push wasn't without its controversy. You ended up edging out Team Atlanta Wieners by half a game due to the utter collapse of 8th place finisher Team Dunn in the final week of the season. Why did this win in particular spark such an uproar in the league?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get into the controversy surrounding Team Dunn, but all I got to say is I was just better. And it doesn't matter if he collapsed in the end. Team Big Man Official was going to win that thing no matter what. So, all I got to say to that is it's just stupid that they're even considering this a controversy because I had the best team in the league come the end of the season. I made all the moves. I had the best manager in the whole league being me. I mean, I can't think of a better combo than that. So if you want to say that it all fell apart because of that last week, you're crazy. I was on a run. I had a little skid there in the middle, got my players back, and I was ready to take on the world. So no, there's no issues with that. I earned that first place.
First and second rounds of the playoff were dominant victories for you, with the rematch between you and Team Dunn in round 1 ending in an 8-1-1 victory, and an impressive win over Team Severance of 9-1. What emotions did you feel heading into what would go down as the most difficult and evenly matched finals matchup we've ever seen between the regular season champ of Team Big Man Official and the surging Team It's an Easy Win for Me?
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 weeks they were easy. I knew I was going to win those, but I knew going into the finals that that matchup between me and It's an Easy Win for Me would be really difficult. His team was just surging towards the end of the year. Um, he had the best team in the league. That's the reality. Uh, I needed a lot of luck and I needed a lot of strategy in order to pull through there. Um, but what I ended up having happen is halfway through I was losing pretty bad. I was down 2-8 after the first week of the 2-week playoff, and I got a call from Team Jadart of all places, and he let me know, Miles, you can win it. And that's when I knew. I knew I had to win it. I had to win it for him. I had to win it for myself. I had to win it for all my fans. Like, there was nothing that was going to be able to stop me from getting that victory. So I put my foot down, and I did probably the most improbable strategy ever known to fantasy baseball. I dropped my batters. Yes. I bet on the ones that I thought were good, and I just kept adding terrible pitchers. And it worked out. So, obviously my strategy worked. I ended up winning 7-3. Really, it was a near tie in every category, but I managed to scrape by in 2 categories by .001 in whip and by 1 stolen base, and so I pulled through. And look at me now. Fantasy baseball champion, baby. Never been more proud of myself. That's all I gotta say.
Team Big Man Official ended the regular season with a record of 107, 62, and 11, and his playoff record stood at 24, 5, and 1 on his path to his first fantasy baseball championship. This story serves as a reminder to everyone that if you work hard enough, you can accomplish anything. The following is the true post-victory speech and celebration from Miles after an incredible season. I have been Miles Dolan with a voice modifier, signing off.
Yes, Big man, baby. You are now a fantasy baseball champion. What emotions are going through your head right now?
Oh my god, I'm honestly, I'm just so excited about this. This is such a great accomplishment for me. I'm feeling so wet right now. I'm so glad that I have this opportunity to just verbalize how much excitement I have about this banana being shoved down my throat. I worked so hard for this. I want to thank everyone that helped me to this point. Myself, of course, because this was all me. I had no help. If anything, I helped everybody else get up to my level, but obviously not as high as me. It's the dawn of a new age, baby. It's the dawn of a new age! Yes! Fantasy baseball champ. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm feeling a bit wet.